Well, good morning, guys. It's hotter than heck in my totally not air-conditioned car, but I am heading out this morning for an exciting day. Today is my pre-op appointment with my plastic surgeon. So if you're new here and you don't know what I am doing, I am having, in 9 days, a 360 lower body lift with a front vertical incision, a Fleur-de-lis they call it. So basically a belt tummy tuck with a Fleur-de-lis, and also I'm having a medial thigh reduction. So I've got a lot of questions to ask my plastic surgeon, and I'm super nervous that I'll forget something, but I'd like to take you guys along and record as much as he will let me. And I'll catch you guys over there. Giving prescriptions for like a whole bunch of medications, so I'll go over that with you guys at some point. Now I'm going to be changing and going to get my pictures taken. I don't have anyone to film it, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Maybe they'll give me the pictures. If so, someday I might show them to you. Let's see. I'm all ready. I got my disposable undies on, but there's this mirror here. Kind of hard to see. Oh, my tippy toes. It's kind of funny. Anyway, that's what I'm wearing for my pictures. And I'm gonna ask her if she'll take a picture with my camera. Or she can say is no. Yeah, look at that. We look cute. Yeah. All right. So, welcome back to another video, guys. Today I am here with my plastic surgeon, Dr. Stephen Warnock of Premier Plastic Surgery Group. And I thought it would be fun, since it is my pre-op appointment, that I would ask him a few questions that maybe I want to know the answer to, but you guys might also not know what to ask, and that has been my major problem. So I'm here with Dr. Warnock, and he's agreed to answer some questions. You nervous? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, see, camera shy, I love it. All right, so what does it mean to be board certified?
So board certification, as it applies here, it's a nationwide kind of testing program that surgeons have to go through. So to be a board certified plastic surgeon means I've finished the residency, I've done my fellowships, and then I've taken an additional test administered by the American Board of Plastic Surgeons that makes me board certified. There are different boards. There's one for every specialty.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes surgeons will say, I'm a board certified surgeon, but they're not board certified in plastic surgery. So worth knowing.
So you have to be careful with that. So you can't just say you're board certified. You have to have proof.
No, you have to have proof, and any surgeon should be able to provide that proof.
Yeah.
And you can also
there's websites, right?
Go to websites for that specific board and look them up.
Okay, so you definitely don't want to hire anybody who is not board certified, because you don't know what training they've had and they haven't had to prove their skills.
Right, and you can usually find that on the surgeon's website. It'll say what board they're certified in, but sometimes they're not very forthcoming.
Well, I easily found you, so that was not hard. Good. That was the first thing I looked up.
That's good.
All right. Okay, so how do you know if you're a good candidate for plastic surgery, or for specifically maybe a tummy tuck, mommy makeover?
So there are a few things. Number one, you can ask a surgeon or two or three and get their opinion on that. Number two, if you're generally young and healthy and a non-smoker, then for the most part, you're a good candidate from an anesthetic and a healing point of view.
Right.
Whether or not you're a candidate for the procedure that's been prescribed kind of depends on who you're talking to. There are some surgeons, I will say, or offices where all they have to offer is, say, liposuction. I think in some cases, in your case, that wouldn't have done the job. So I think you have to be a little careful about that. There's an old saying that if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so you have to be sure that you're getting the same advice from different people.
Good idea. Okay. So do you have to be at your goal weight or have a certain BMI to have a tummy tuck surgery?
You do have to have a certain BMI. It has to be below 40, and that's not a very difficult standard.
That's easy.
Yeah. But you don't have to be at your goal weight, because when we're doing a tummy tuck, we can take skin and fat, and I tell people leave the last 10 pounds for me, and I can take that off in the operating room.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, should I be trying to take off that last 10 pounds this next week
Nope.
as desperately as possible?
No, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, you don't need to. Second of all, I don't want you starved so that you're depleted from a physiologic energy point of view. I don't, that makes it so that healing becomes a problem.
So you don't want me to be on a cutting type diet. You want me to be on a maintenance calorie diet.
Yeah, maintenance diet.
So are there any other special like diet recommendations leading up to or after surgery that can help with healing or make you less inflammatory or less likely to have terrible swelling?
So that's a good question. Diet always is important. A good diet is helpful. Anti-inflammatory diets are helpful. I'm not sure, there's no data to suggest that those are going to make your healing faster or better. So I like to work off data, not just conjecture. So,
Me too.
So what I
That's
like,
what my channel is about.
what I like is for people to have a healthy diet and to have enough calories, because there is a great calorie demand, especially for a big tummy tuck surgery, for healing. And you're going to feel it.
I read it was like 15 to 20 calories per pound of body weight for post-healing, which for me is like well over 3,000, I think, calories, which I can't even imagine since I've been,
limiting.
Dieting forever.
I've never heard that before, but what I don't want is a starvation diet either leading up to or following the surgery.
Okay.
So enough calories, I mean, that's your maintenance, what you've been doing.
Right.
But you'll feel it too. You'll feel drained and you'll feel exhausted.
So what happens after, if you gain a bunch of weight, will it be like weird? Will you gain it only in the places where you didn't have the surgery, or will you still gain weight where you had the surgery?
You can still gain weight where you had the surgery. It comes on differently because the amount of skin you have, the amount of fat cells, the distribution of fat cells, all that is different. So you can still overwhelm it with donuts, I like to say. Yeah.
I tried to avoid donuts.
Yes.
Those have been my downfall in the
all.
past. Yeah, donuts, highly palatable. All right, let's see. So what do you do to make the belly button, especially in a case like mine where you're doing a fleur-de-lis down the front? Would you use my own belly button and cut it out separate and try and use it?
When I cut around the belly button at the very beginning, so we start with an incision hip to hip. We start opening things up. I get to the belly button, cut around it, and leave the belly button attached. So it has a firm attachment and blood supply to the abdominal wall. Then I'm going to repair muscles around it. It comes back through a little gap, and then I'll figure out exactly where it needs to go and just cut a little oval and bring it through.
Okay.
Sew it in. So most people are concerned that the belly button looks big, or it's the hole is too big, or the scar is out on the abdomen. And what I usually do is try to make the belly button kind of smallish, and so it pulls in, because that's the way normal belly buttons look.
I love that answer, because that's exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. See, he's got all the good answers, guys. All right, let's see. So you mentioned muscle repair. What exactly is that? I mean, who's a good candidate for that? Is it always required?
So if you've had pregnancies,
You're
going to need it.
Yeah.
So everyone that's been pregnant, I think, is a candidate for it. It doesn't, and it means that we're pulling it back to where they're right next to each other. Those two muscles that you see on bodybuilders that are kind of the bricks, those come right back together. For people who've been very heavy, it almost acts like a pregnancy as well, because all the internal fat is pushed out.
Push it out. So guys can have the same problem if they've been severely obese.
So it's a routine part of the tummy tuck, and I'd say it's rare that I don't do it.
Is it something that's gonna last forever? Like, are you ever gonna like pop a stitch and all of a sudden you have this weird bump?
No.
How do you guarantee that?
Well, there's no guarantee. And
Well,
I
yeah,
have had one patient in 20 years that popped a stitch and we had to go back in and repair. And it happened because she stumbled and fell down some stairs.
Oh, okay.
So
She
just
was
normal
hurting herself.
routine movement. If you're healing the way you should and not doing too much, you should be good.
So, and I've seen online you do that kind of around and around and then you pull it,
Mm-hmm.
corset type stitch.
Mm-hmm.
You use that stitch on my daughter's face.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you know how to do it. I've seen
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Okay, so anesthesia. What kind of anesthesia do you have during the actual procedure?
So it's general anesthesia, so it's not a sedation. Sometimes you'll hear about people that have just sedation for their procedure. This procedure is too big for that.
So you would have like a tube down your throat and everything, and you're being monitored the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and sedation would be just like IV drugs that will put you out, kind of like what you would do for
or even oral.
for a kid who gets like their teeth fixed.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so like, wisdom teeth removal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you offer Exparol for your muscle repair?
I do. Yeah. So I put that on everybody. So whether I don't really offer it, it's just
You just do
part
it.
of it. Yeah.
I love that.
Just to give it.
And that helps with the nerve pain for like 3 days after.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah. It's
Oh,
good.
I'm happy about that.
It's been great. It's been great. People love it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it should just be standard. I don't feel like it should be something you have to ask for. So that's good to know. If you guys have to ask for it, make sure you ask for it. And if they don't offer it, you should maybe consider going somewhere else, because that's definitely going to help with recovery from what I've seen online.
True. You see it like before it was available, you'd see people coming in day one, like the next day after their surgery, hunched over, barely walking, and you can tell they're in pain. And now they're coming.
Feel a lot better.
They come happier.
Oh, that's
second
good.
day. Yeah,
That's
happier.
really good, because that's the part I'm scared about the most.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, I'm afraid I won't wake up. And I'm like, I'm afraid I will wake up. Are you
Mhm.
kidding me? I had a nightmare about that last night, actually.
Mm.
Had a dream that it was your assistant who had done the surgery. And instead of doing the correct surgery, she had actually implanted fat in me.
Oh.
And I woke up and I felt even heavier. And I was like, what happened? And I see her and she's like, it went really well. And I'm like, did you do the muscle repair? And she's like, oh, that's for the second surgery.
Oh.
I've had that heart attack. That's a good old nightmare for you, right?
Yeah, that's a good
one. Okay, so drains. I've heard progressive tension sutures throwing around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that means. Like, can you like expound on that kind of thing?
So you'll have drains.
Because of the extent of my
almost every tummy tuck gets at least one drain.
Okay.
It would be rare that I wouldn't put a drain in, mostly because I want to prevent the seromas that can happen.
Yeah.
Progressive tension is a way of sewing down the skin as you pull it down to prevent seromas from happening. So
Okay.
it works really well in the upper, but I still feel like it collects a little bit down below, even if I do progressive tension stitches down there.
Interesting. Okay, and so for like the thigh repair, would it be a similar kind of thing? Like, how do you make sure? I'm really nervous about the thighs popping open, and I actually saw this lady online that happened to, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, they won't pop open. So there are 3 layers of stitches as we come out.
Okay.
So a deeper layer, and then the other thing that I do on the thighs is most of what's coming out is skin and fat. So I'm not getting right down to the muscle. That makes it heal better. So usually you don't need a drain in the legs.
So the drains would be just for the 360. So I'm gonna have 2 in the front and 2 in the back.
Well, 2 on each side.
2 on each side.
Yeah, there are 4 drains.
Okay.
And you were right. 2 of them go to the front, 2 of them go to the back.
But they're not
they
positioned back.
come out. They come out
Okay.
here.
Nice.
So.
Okay, that sounds a lot more comfortable than what I was imagining. I already asked the nurse about heat and ice, but her answer made me want to ask you for these guys' sake, because I know a lot of people suggest using heat on their backs. Now, they didn't have the full 360, the ones who are saying that, and ice to prevent, like swelling and stuff like that, and you don't recommend it, and I thought it would be good to talk about why.
So, heat on your back is fine. We don't want it on the front because you don't have normal sensation and your body doesn't respond normally like it would to heat there. So I've seen people with 3rd-degree burns from a heating pad.
Ooh. Yeah, that would
And
be bad.
ice is the same. It constricts blood vessels, and we want those blood vessels doing their thing so that it can heal.
Right.
So I prefer to have people just not use it unless I give them specific instructions as to where.
Okay, so we need to ask you first before you use it.
Yeah.
And for the 360, it's not the same as with a tummy tuck where you have to walk hunched over, or do I just walk straight, or do I?
Straight. Yeah, just straight.
How do I walk, doctor?
Yeah, walk straight.
How do I sleep? Where
Yeah.
do I sit?
So the back won't be as tight
Okay.
as the front. And the reason is because you need to be able to sit down and lie down.
Yeah.
So it'll be not quite as tight as you might think.
Oh, lymphatic massage. I was going to ask you, do you recommend it? Do you have a?
I
Do
do,
you
but not
tell
early
them
on.
what to do?
Yeah, after a month.
After a month,
Yeah.
I think it's beneficial.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. My doctor was being a champ to let me record our session, but I thought it would be a good opportunity since I was going to ask him all this stuff anyway. And I'm getting really excited. We're 9 days out, guys. 9 days out for the surgery. So thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.